Welcome back to First Impressions, where I watch a musical for the first time and give you my first impressions. It's not a hard concept to grasp. Today, we're looking at Sister Act. Initially, I wanted to do a special episode where I looked at a musical film, but then I watched Sister Act the film and realised that Disney Plus had been lying to me and that Sister Act was not a musical. Thanks. But in all honesty, I was actually glad that I watched the film because I loved it. I mean, it was darker than I was expecting it, and that kind of gripped me from the start. And listening to the movie beforehand helped me a lot because for a lot of these, I'm only going off a cast album, which is also the case for today. But Sister Act, with music by Alan Menken and lyrics by Glenn Slater, tells the story of Dolores, who, after witnessing her mobster boyfriend shoot a man, she goes into witness protection and hides in a convent, where she transforms their choir into a soul group that has the entire town talking. If I'm being honest, both the film and the musical, they're just so much fun. I have so much praise to give for the original film, which I can't even talk about properly, because I'm here to talk about the musical, but the film is just so much fun. It's got these really quirky characters you get really attached to quite quickly. Whoopi Goldberg's just amazing every single second she's on the screen. She is glorious to watch. The one-liners, it's so witty and funny. There's so many great lines that I would quote in person. The music that ends up being in the film, while it's not like musical music, it's so beautiful and sung amazingly. I just have so much praise for it. And the musical is the same. I didn't get to watch the entire musical because, theatres are currently closed and I'll only watch a bootleg if I have to. So what I did instead is I sat down, I listened to the cast recording and followed along with the plot. And the film and the musical are very similar. I do have some problems and some criticisms about it. The plot follows the film basically to a T. The changes that they do make, it's really only location changes. Like, they change a little bit the plot because they don't want to fly all the way back to Reno. So they keep it very much in one location, which works better for a musical. So those changes are welcome. But the main change that they make, which I really don't like, is that they make Eddie have a crush on Dolores. Now, I don't like this because it just adds an unnecessary plot point. I don't particularly think that Dolores needs a love interest. I thought it was quite refreshing that the film didn't have a love interest. That's a very typical way that you go with comedy, and it was nice to see a subversion of this. And it's just more about Dolores finding herself in this new location. But that aside, I think the obvious thing to talk about is the music. And it is so good. It is so good. It is one of the only musicals that I've listened to the cast recording and be sold by the first song. As soon as the prologue is done and it starts going into the jazz bar where Dolores is singing, it is so joyful. It's so much fun to listen to. The person who plays Dolores, whose name I've completely forgotten, I should look this up. I'm so bad at this, but her name is on screen right now. She is a perfect choice for Dolores. She brings that soulfulness and those vocals, and she's just as witty and quick to it as Goldberg is in the film. It's a great casting choice. I think there should have been a stronger contrast between Dolores' style of singing and Mother Superior's style of singing. I think Mother Superior should have been a little bit more
him-like.
I think she was a bit too much like a mixture of pop, musical theatre and classic, where I think having a bit more classic in there would have worked better in this case. But again, this is only a very small detail, very nitpicky, and the show is a bop. The male solos in the show just completely fall to the wayside. I can't remember a single one. There's a love song that Eddie sings, and I've already said why I wouldn't particularly like that. There's a song that the mobster boyfriend's goons sing, which is just I think the only one that I kind of liked was the one sung by the mobster boyfriend towards the start, which had a quite nice conceit with him singing, "I'm gonna find my baby and then I'm gonna kill her." That is funny. I love that subversion. But I can forgive this because the songs that are sung throughout the rest of the show by the Nuns and Dolores are just so good, and they are such a bop. I do also wish that with the exception of the song sung by the Mum's Boyfriend and a couple of songs here and there, that more of the witty lines and the witty undertones were carried over into the songs. But I find that this is a problem with musical comedies, that a lot of them don't put the comedy into the music. There's only a few that I can think of really good examples for. I think Something Rotten, which is this fantastic musical set in like the 1500s. They do a really good job of putting that really witty comedy into the songs and making every song just as funny as the book is. But again, that is a rarity in musical comedy, and I wish more musicals would take a leaf out of that book and, you know, carry over that comedy. But the songs are all bops, and forgive it. And I think this is what I just keep coming back to, because even as I try to criticise it, as I try to wrap my brain, think of anything that I could say, weighing up the positives and negatives, every time I think of a negative, I would just keep going back to, yeah, but you enjoyed the songs. Yeah, but you found that one a bop. Oh yeah, but you were like jogging along to that, even though it was the first time you heard that song. Hello, Becky. Are you coming in here like mid-recording?
Yes. Sucks.
Bye, Becky. You forgot your socks. I just kept coming back to the fact that I liked the music so much. And as I try to become a bit more critical about my thinking and everything, I always find that I'm able to forgive a musical having terrible set, terrible lighting, terrible acting, if the singing and the music is good. I think as a reviewer, as someone who talks about this, it would be completely stupid of me not to lay down my biases on the table, because we all have biases and we all have things that we like and we dislike. That's why I'm constantly saying theatre is what? Subjective, because it is. And even though I have these problems with this show, I always come back to the fact that it's a bop, and that I'll forgive all these problems because of this one thing. And I mean, this can apply vice versa. I might like the set, the acting, the overall plot, but the music's not good. That applies, the best example of that for me is Blood Brothers. But if you're looking for a musical that you just want to play, you want to feel in a good mood, then Sister Act is the perfect musical for you. If you're a fan of the film, you will absolutely love this. And as someone who watched the film and listens to a musical on the same day, you can still fall in love with it all at the same time. It would never crack any favourites list, but I do really appreciate what it does and what it achieves and just how much fun it is. Because sometimes you're just in the mood for that. Sometimes you don't want something like Come From Away that's going to really challenge you and make you cry. Sometimes you just want a little bit of fun. And that is great. So please go listen to Sister Act. It's great. If you haven't watched the film, go watch the film. Whoopi Goldberg is worth the price of Disney Plus monthly on her own sum. It's so good. Check out Sister Act. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I make musical theatre content every single week, and new episodes of First Impression every month or so. You can check out some other episodes of First Impression by clicking the playlist around here somewhere. But that's it from me today. I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!